Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the Podcast Mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Hello, esteemed listeners, and welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and today's episode promises to be an incredible, insightful as we introduce our remarkable guest. Joining us is the CEO and lifelong sensory processing syndrome expert, a 6-time international award-winning product designer and entrepreneur. Our guest has dedicated her life to seeking solutions for everyday problems, leveraging her diagnosis to create a company that consistently finds ways to help others. Their flagship Cozy line, featuring the CozyThrow and the CozyCo blankets, addresses various challenges faced by individuals dealing with anxiety, social stress, circulation issues, or those simply seeking a cozier way to read and feel warm. What sets these blankets apart is their unique focus on warming extremities, providing a holistic solution to a fundamental issue. Without further ado, let's extend some warm welcomes to our guest, Liz Holland. Liz, thank you so much for being here.
Actually, Liz Holland.
Liz Holland, I apologize. Liz.
That's all right.
You think I'd learn after 500 episodes, but apparently not. Liz, thank you so much.
Put me at ease with tripping over words because another diagnosis is dyslexia, and sometimes I do that. So it all works.
There we go. So I put you at ease, showing that I'm a simple person without any amazingness, and you are just as relaxed and amazing as always. Liz, thank you for being here. I'm going to jump straight into the first question because I want to get the value out of this. Why did you decide to become the CEO of your own company? Why did you decide to join the ranks of the entrepreneurs?
Basically because I had to. I can't turn off the entrepreneurial gene. My dad was an inventor. He held over 100 patents. And so, every night around the dinner table, we'd be discussing what he did today and then getting into the nitty gritty of how things worked. And, he was an engineer, forefather of the automatic warehousing systems industry. But he died when I was 20. And so I didn't really get to have him as a resource in my adult years. And so I worked for other companies and found the CEOs doing a really bad job. Those 5 International Industrial Design Awards were for tennis rackets. And it was a huge innovation we had this size hole in the racket so that there was less vibration. These series of rackets won all these awards. And then the CEO threw them in the trash, replaced them with a plastic insert. And, quality players don't play with plastic instead of the carbon fiber. So, and then another company for the CEO just, screwed over. That canceled a huge contract with Disney that I built over the course of a year and a half. And so it was like, these guys are getting it wrong. We need all of the pieces to work. We need from a beautiful idea to people getting it, production being, spot on, using environmental methods. Then we have to market it to the right people in the right way. And then we have to just distribute it. So all of these things are critical to making anything successful. And so, I had always felt like I've done all these parts of the processes with these companies. I can do it better. I can run a company that's much, much better. And so when I got my sensory processing disorder diagnosed early in my early 50s, almost 10 years ago, there was so little out there for adults. There was next to nothing. There was one book that I found, Too Fast, Too Bright, to Learn, Do Something Too Tight, for adults. And excuse me, mouth gets very dry. And so like those of us that have been experiencing it our whole lives, people have said, "Oh, what's your problem? Just get over it. And you're so picky," and like putting you down for having limitations. When I discovered it was real, I knew the experiences were real, but I was quietly kind of solving problems on my own and not telling people about it because there was little room for grace there. And so when I got the diagnosis, I was like, wait, I've been making stuff my whole life to live in this particularly difficult body. And, where should I start? I have many in the pipeline, but the Cozies lines, and it's CozyThrow Z's, Z, we pronounce it that way, CozyThrow Z's, and then the kid version, Cozies. I wanted the most universal product that would certainly help people like me, but also would help a wide range of people. And what could be more universal than having trouble getting and staying warm? And as a result, we kind of discovered that beyond getting really warm, it has this adult swaddle kind of point of feeling, like stress melts away. You're just like in your own little cocoon, and people that don't have SPD are like, wow, I can't, this is amazing. And so that has become the challenge for people to notice their nervous system. Step one, just notice it. Most people don't even notice it. And if they do notice it, they think it is what it is. When it's really, what if we had a choice when we're really amped? What if we had tools when our nervous system is going through the roof to bring us back down to center? We all have nervous systems. We all have triggers. I have all the triggers everybody else has outside of my senses. My senses just is something else I have to be keeping track of, and having the tools to, my number one goal is to not experience it in the first place. So if I can fend off the trigger, then you don't have anything to recover from. If I do get exposed to whatever, I have tools to come back to center. And that's what I propose to anyone that gets my product. It's just like, notice. And if this becomes a tool that helps you, then awesome. And think about other things, other times you're amped. How can you come back to center? Like this, I don't know if she's on camera, my puppy dog is right here beside me.
Give me 1 second. We'll make sure that we can see the puppy.
Here.
No. We don't want to disturb the puppy.
He doesn't mind.
There we go. We just took off there we go. We got the doggy in without the display names. I think we know who we are today.
Yeah.
So we can get the doggy. And that's a great way.
And cats too. Like the experience of getting a cat to purr, it's very different than the dog, but they both have really settling experiences. Dogs are all like, yeah, she's trained.
Unconditional love.
Excuse me?
Unconditional love. That's what I say.
Absolutely. And, they're great teachers of unconditional love. Mm-hmm. I feel like I was raised by the dogs in my house. And I learned about parenting. I learned about unconditional love thoroughly. It wasn't happening. Well, my dad was brilliant. It was a challenging environment to grow up in. So that's where it all started.
I love it. I love how you followed in your father's footsteps, first learning the tools and skills that you needed from others, and seeing how they're improperly running a company and ruining businesses. And then you were able to have this successful company. Where did the idea of the CozyThrow come from? Like, this is like, obviously you're probably solving a problem for yourself, but how did it conceptualize?
First, there was that product from about 15 years ago. I don't want to name the product, but it's like wearing a robe backwards. It's a blanket with sleeves. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Why don't you just put a robe on? Then you're wrapped up completely. Your shoulders are exposed, and of course the hands and feet. One of Shark Tank's top 5 products, this is more recently, the other one was an oversized sweatshirt they were supposed to tuck your knees in. Like, who my age or in many ages can stay in that position? Again, no hands and feet. if your hands and feet are cold, it doesn't matter how much you're wrapped up, you will still have the sensation of being cold. At least I do. And it's incredibly difficult to relax if you're cold. And it's such a universal problem. And I was like, it had been in my head for probably a decade, this particular product. And I have 2 more coming, the CozyGo and CozyThrow. And I think we're going to show this later, but this blanket wraps you fully, has hand pockets with finger and thumb openings, so you can pick up your phone, remote, book, drink, and have functionality in your hands. That is huge, but they stay warm. You're reading a book for a length of time, your hands are wrapped up and you can turn the pages and you do everything. Then it has feet pockets. And they flare up around your ankles, because who wants cold ankles? And then when you wrap yourself head to toe, it's like, like an adult swaddle. It just feels so safe. And like, you can just like, oh, wow, I feel so much better. I've had incredibly stressful days where I'm like, it's not going to make me feel that much better. And then I get in it and I'm like, there it is. There it is. And I just feel everything settling down. And, the hand and feet pockets, we also made it's double-sided fleece. So the good side and the good side, 2 layers, and then 2 layers under the hands, no seams in between, because people don't like seams. And then it's backed with polar fleece, and then 2 layers. So like 5 layers of fleece on all the pockets. And so, and it's, like, fleece has become kind of a bad word, like polyester was in the 70s, but then they developed microfibers and that became the best, but it's still polyester. And this is from the same thing, but it's the highest quality you can find. Not shiny, it's dense, but super soft. And so we were really aiming for a high quality product that people could have forever. Machine washable. We have the kids size, which is CozyCo. And I love that name for it, because it's just so easy for them to say, Mommy, can I have my CozyCo? And then you're like, it's particularly good for kids that are super hyper or anxious, or, for them to feel safe too. It's been, years for them since they were swaddled. We don't really think of swaddling a child, a young child, but they get their hands and feet in, they wrap themselves up, and you're like, go, and I'll read you in, I'll come to you in a minute. Go get in your CozyCo. And like that, they're asleep. They're bouncing off the walls and they climb into here, but we don't tell the children that because they might fight it.
Yeah, no. We just say
secret.
It's our secret. Yeah, it's a nice little warm blanket for bed.
Right.
My God, I love it. I'm looking at it now and I'm super jealous. You look super warm in that, and I'm here in Montreal where it's cold. It's colder months.
You can also save on your energy bill. If you keep your house a little cooler and everybody's hanging out in the living room or wherever in your house, wrap yourself up if you're cold. And, when you need to get something, you just like open it up, go, come back, and all the hands and feet are in the proper place. Because the main thing is you just want to have your hands equal distance and enough over your shoulders that then the feet will magically be in place. Kind of like Da Vinci's Man in the Circle.
Yeah.
We all have very predictable proportions. Not everybody, of course, but even if it's too big, it's still very usable. You just kind of get it up over your shoulders and you have a little bit extra give, but it works for everybody.
I love this. And you look super cozy. Super jealous of that. I do have a question about investing in yourself, because that's what this show is about, and where I always love to get my guest's opinion on that. As a lifelong SPD expert and entrepreneur, what investments have you made in your own personal and professional growth that you believe have helped pivot to make your success? How do these investments contribute to your ability to continually innovate and make a positive impact through your business?
Oh boy. Well, first I invested everything financially. Went through a bad divorce, but sold a house and put it all towards this. Working day in and day out, really for years to get to this place. And the biggest part is picking myself up after falling down. And I guarantee if you're on the road of being an entrepreneur, you will fall down and a lot. And that's challenging. How do you find, especially when you're doing pretty much everything alone, how do you find the strength to go on? For me, it was like, learn the lesson. There's a lesson here always. And really be willing to examine it honestly, go deep inside and learn it so that at least you won't make that mistake again, or at least those series of events. You see where I could have done better. So that's an important part. Be willing to know that you will fall down, you will fail, and you have to pick yourself up pretty much by yourself. I have loving, supportive people in my life now, and that helps a lot. But I have to do it on my own. And so in those times, my biggest friend is my vision. Are my actions, or is what I'm doing today, is the place I'm going tomorrow in alignment with my vision, which is to really help people find a place of center. We are living in unprecedented times that are outside ourselves, wars and global warming and civil unrest, and just it seems to get exponentially worse on a daily basis. And I don't see it stopping as much as, if I can help people to come home and feel better, find their center, is that going to be better for their life? Of course it will. Is it going to be better for their family? Most likely. Are they going to have more time, energy to be able to contribute to their community, their things they care about? Yes. So the goal beyond, selling product and it being very successful, and to the place that I can continue to bring more products, that is what I reconnect with. And even when I'm doing well, it's like checking in, is this in alignment with what I say I want to do, what my vision is for this world? And if it is, then keep going, and learn your lessons and don't repeat them. There will be new ones. The new challenges are on the horizon, I guarantee it. But but the vision is a really big part for me to be sure that what I'm doing is in alignment. There's always room for refining, for doing it a little bit better. So I'm always looking for those ways that I can kind of add more good and subtract the negative things.
I like that. I like to take a look into the future. I always like seeing the future vision from entrepreneurs about what they have planned for the future, because it can help me plan for my future. In that. But if I snap my fingers, we're 10 years in the future. Liz, what are we doing? What is Liz doing right now? And this is also a chance for me to preempt you, saying that you're going to be coming back in 10 years at least to be the show. Just to verify. Smart forward thinking here. What are we doing in 10 years? What is Liz doing in 10 years?
Well, first of all, this line really takes off so that there's just financial freedom to do anything else in the pipeline. I have some that are for a more narrow field of, people suffering from SPD or children on the spectrum, or, that help a smaller audience, but that audience really would benefit from that help. I think that in this process, I'm on interviews, I'm talking about that notice the nervous system thing. That's kind of the most universal question or challenge for people to be like, oh, I can do something about my nervous system. I can, claim myself, with all of my sensory stuff, all of my senses are super sensitive, and I have had headaches every day of my life since I was a teenager. And the sensory things really, really, it doesn't solve it, but they contribute highly to bad to worse. So, asking people to understand and connect with their nervous system and take action towards making it better. And it's not always just with my products. If this is a tool, great. Find other tools. Stay tuned for future things that we bring out. But it's mostly that challenge being an incredibly positive thing that I'm able to talk about on a national, international level, to bring people's focus to what can you do in this world that's so crazy. Well, we can at least handle our own nervous system. Let's start there. And then out of that, and when you get good at that, you have so much more time and space to do what you have to bring, that's uniquely yours to bring to the world, if you can start with that little thing.
Oh,
So
I love it. It's such great goal and vision. Like you said, it goes back to your vision of helping people, and I love it. And it's a great thing, and I can't wait for 10 years down the road for you to be back here saying, Phil, I've done more than I said I would last time I was here. I've done this, and we're doing this. We're going over here. CozyThrow is through the roof, we're in all the markets and all that fun stuff. But I do have a question, because you are a 6-time international award-winning product designer, which it's a first having first of all, just having one international award-winning. You're a 6-time repeat offender. Your expertise is evident. How do you approach designing the design process for products that prioritize words are difficult, both functionality and comfort, especially dealing with solutions for sensory processing challenges? Wow.
Well,
I definitely like word salads.
Well, I always say that there's a gift behind the diagnosis. For my first big diagnosis I mentioned earlier was dyslexia. I spent my childhood in desperate fear of somebody finding out my secret, that I didn't know how to read, starting at the beginning and finishing at the end, and reading all the words. I'm severely dyslexic, and everybody said you were an idiot if you didn't know how to read. So I had to hide it. I had to come up with all these ways to learn and keep the secret. And I did. I got mostly A's and B's, occasional C's in English. And, I figured it out and problem solved to keep the secret. Then I went to art school, and sophomore year, first day, my professor said, I'm dyslexic. This is what I am, what it is. This is what I request of you. And I was like, crap, that's me. But fast forward to the gift behind that is I learned all these different ways to learn. And now I taught myself to read, because, it was scary having the words jump around and having no support for that. And, it was just too scary to even try. But once I knew it was real, it was like, okay, cool, I can do this. And there's times when, it's really a struggle, and other times where it's easier. And then so we get to ADD. I'll skip over that one, other than it allows me to multitask very well and shift gears very, very well. And then we get to SPD, and the gift behind that is I notice every tiny detail of everything. It's just little things bother me. Last week I had a gold chain on, little gentle, tiny gold chain, and the class was tickling at me, and I was like, why stop doing that? And, it took me a little bit. Usually I'm faster. It's like, Liz, why are you even allowing that to happen? Take off the necklace, because you can have a whole series of events that start with a tiny little thing like that knock you down. If I can catch it before it turns into anything, then take the damn necklace off. But I notice every detail. So from a design point of view, I'm always like making sure all the details are covered. extremities, the layers, the up around the ankle, the hand holding, what do I need to do when I'm wrapped up in a blanket? My feet never get covered. I can't hold anything unless I do some kind of weird, bunching up around the thing. But that's a real gift because I notice it. I can find solutions, and I literally make prototypes for myself. I'm making some right now, probably 3, 4, 5 a month. Just because I'm like, oh, if I do that, then that will solve that. And beyond the sensory stuff for me, because of the sensory stuff or because of the lifelong headaches, if I get something else in my health, I get it big. Huge case of shingles that turned into post-traumatic hermetic neuralgia for the rest of my life. And, so it's like this incredibly delicate balance in this body of mine that has, I swear I do 100 things a day, to little tiny things, just to fend off the possibility of something getting worse. And, it's a pain in the butt, but it's so much better than my previous life where I get knocked down, and so much that it was like worse than fight or flight. It was called, the deeper trauma is called freeze. And, it felt like I was catatonic for sometimes 24, 48 hours, sometimes weeks. It's so it's very, very important for me to catch things as early as possible. So I've developed a skill set that not only catches them, but I acknowledge that they're real. Instead of the dismissing, well, you should be able to get over that. You should be able to get over that. What's your problem? Saying to myself, because that was my feedback from everybody in my life before. But my life before had a lot of trauma and a lot of bad stuff. So I didn't know any better until I did know better. And so now I very carefully choose the people in my life to be incredibly supportive and loving, and I don't have to hang out with assholes anymore. It's like, yay.
I love that. That is some great advice. Liz, we are getting to the end of the episode, which I hate because I love talking with you and learning all about you and that. But I do have a final question to ask you. This is a bit of a selfish question because I am putting together a giant gift for my nephew when he turns 10. He's currently 5, so I got a long time to go, but got to start early, right? Plant those trees early. I want to get a piece of advice from you for a 10-year-old. So we're going to bring 10-year-old Liz is right here beside me. She's spunky. She's ready to go. What is one piece of advice you would love to give your 10-year-old self?
Well, believe in yourself, regardless of what people say, any feedback you get in the world, believe in yourself and migrate towards those that get you, that support you, that will do, that appreciate who you are. We all are very unique individuals, and we don't have to be everything for everybody. We don't have to be good at everything. We don't have to understand everything, but we are very good at the things we're very good at, and we want to cherish those and support those within ourselves, migrate to those that believe in you and that will support who you really are. And, as I mentioned, my 10-year-old self was, that year I remember distinctly, it was a really bad year for me in the way of trauma. So, even if your situation isn't the best, you can still grow and learn from it. And you can, get to a place in your life where you get to really choose all kinds of things in your life. And, so when you're in a situation, I always told my kids, if you're in a class when you're older and get to high school, that you have different teachers, there are these wonderful teachers and there's not great teachers, but they're still your teachers. So you have to figure out how to give them what they need, so you get what you need, which is probably an A. And then those teachers that are awesome, like soak them up, learn as much as you can from them. And if you're able to see the difference, then you apply that to life, because bosses and what you do with your career, you want to surround yourself with people that get you, people that think you're wonderful. And we all are wonderful in our own ways, but we're not wonderful to everybody. Not everybody gets us, but that's okay. We don't have to have everybody get us. We just have to have the people that believe in us get us.
I love it. Liz, I can't thank you enough. I'm going to jump off stage here. I want you to let my audience know where they can connect with you, where they can get the CozyThrowsies and all those cozy ozies for themselves, for their kids. I'm definitely going to be sending one to my sister and for my nephew. So the floor is yours. Let me know where I can purchase this and get in more contact with you.
That's great. Well, my website is cozies.com, and that's spelled CozyZZZ.com. And the Cozy line of products are the the Cozy Cozies for kids, the CozyThrowsies for adults. And in the spring, we'll launch the CozyGozy, the best waterproof head to toe, warm on the inside, keep you dry on the outside, picnic blanket you'll ever come across. That'll be coming. And then we even have a bed version called the Cozy Toesies. So you'll see pictures of the future ones on my website, as well as be able to buy these products, the first two, right away. We have product on the East Coast and product on the West Coast in our fulfillment centers. So we're ready to go.
I love it. I'm definitely going to be checking out the website afterwards. Liz, thank you so much for being on the podcast and sharing your story with us. It was an incredible journey, and you gave us such amazing advice.
Great. It was a pleasure speaking with you, and I love being on things like this that inspire people to take chances on themselves.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And to my audience, remember, if you're looking to get a Cozy Toesy or a Cozy Throwsy or a Cozy Ozy and all the cozy wonderful things that are coming out. I think I said cozy way too many times there. Check out the show notes down below.
Times I say it in a day.
I could only imagine, Liz. But yes, check out the show notes down below. You'll find all the links to Liz and the company CozyThrowsy, so that you can support this amazing entrepreneur and stay warm during those cold winter nights. Yes.
We've gathered the best information for adults with SPD in our What is SPD, I think is what it's called, tab. So if you think you might be one of us that way, there's still very little available. You really have to dig to find information for adults, but there's a ton of it there with links to the locations to read more.
And what I'll do to help you guys out is make a specific tab down in the show notes so that you guys can look into that instead of trying to figure it out on the website, so you can go straight there and help you all out. I thank you so much for listening, and remember to always invest in yourself.